I've been preparing a small collection of paintings for an upcoming group exhibition, but the most unexpected challenge turned out to be framing them. I couldn't find anything that felt quite right, so I decided to make my own frames from scratch. When I decided to take part in this exhibition, I knew I wanted to create a small, cohesive collection, something that felt connected to kind of work I've been slowly moving towards. I chose to work in oils rather than watercolor. One of the paintings had to be Kingfisher. I painted quite a few of them last year, and after spotting a few in my local nature reserve, I felt like a natural choice to include one here too. The other paintings are landscapes, inspired by local walks, places I come back to often. This one in particular started as a small gouache sketch in my sketchbook, and I've been wanting to develop it into a larger piece for a while. For this video though, I want to focus on what happened afterwards, when it came to bringing everything together. You might be wondering why I decided to build my own frames. And honestly, a more sensible approach would probably have been just to buy ready-made ones and focus on the paintings. But I do tend to make things a little more complicated for myself. In reality though, I knew I wanted simple floater frames, and I just couldn't find anything that felt quite right. The options available felt either too flimsy or not quite in line with my work, and while I'd love to use professional framing more in the future, it's not quite realistic financially at this stage, so making them myself felt like a good middle ground. I also wanted the frames to really complement the paintings. All these pieces are inspired by nature, so there are trees and branches in each of them. So using simple natural wood felt like the right direction. Before cutting anything, I spent a bit of time working out the measurements, trying to keep things as simple as possible. I chose the size that would be manageable to cut by hand, which still turned out to be more challenging than I expected. It definitely took a few attempts to get the hang of it, but once the first pieces started coming together, it became much easier, and also quite satisfying to see the frame slowly take shape. Next, I move on to cutting the inner tray pieces. Once all the pieces were cut, there was quite a bit of sanding to do, to smooth everything out and get the edges ready for the assembly. To assemble the frames, I used wood glue and frog tape to hold everything in place while it dried. It's probably not the most professional method, and I think next time I'd invest in the proper corner clamps, but for this project it worked surprisingly well. Once the frames were assembled, I applied a dark oak wax to bring out the natural texture of wood. This step really changed everything. It gave the frames a warmer and more finished feel. Before placing the paintings into the frames, I varnished each piece to protect the surface and bring out all the depth of the colors. At this point, everything was finally ready to come together. I added the final details at the back, securing everything in place and attaching the cord for hanging. This is always my favorite part, when everything finally comes together. Seeing the paintings in their frames completely changed how they felt as finished pieces. It definitely took more time and effort than expected, but I'm really glad I chose to make them myself. The exhibition has now come to an end, but it was such a valuable experience, and I'm already thinking about what to create next. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any tips for me, or if you have any questions with regards to my process, please let me know in the comments below. I'll see you again very soon. Bye!